And honestly, dude, like I was at kind of the cutting edge of that because it seems like everybody's jumping over and like giving that a whirl and seeing if it's a better option because they give you more of a revenue split. Apparently, as it stands right now, they give you 100%.
100%.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know why would you do that? Why wouldn't you do that? Because Twitch is what giving you 60% of your everything, and then other places are I don't know. I mean,
That seems
YouTube.
too good to be true, man.
Well, it's too good to be true until like they can't do that anymore. I mean, so they're doing that to entice people, but I think once it becomes more established, then they definitely can't do that. So just kind of trying to lure in content creators as it stands right now, but I don't know. So just kind of trying to lure in content creators. So so you just saw Shazam. So I guess a spoiler laden review of that. What did you think about that? Is it worth seeing? Is it better than the first one?
Definitely not better than the first one. It's it's alright. I enjoyed it. It was a good movie. Just wasn't better than the first one.
So the something that they did well on the first one is kind of the I mean he's a kid. So it's like the interplay between having the adult body with superpowers and then still being a kid and there's like some kid type jokes in there. The reviews I've seen said they overdid it on the like kid type jokes. Is that
Oh yeah, I can definitely see that.
yeah, that's tough. I mean, I don't know. I liked the first one. I thought it was a good, but I mean, you get too far into it, and his villains are kind of cheesy. Like, I mean, his villain is like a centipede. You know, it's like
Definitely.
so it's kind of tough to get hyped for that. Whereas like Superman has some like badass villains, and Batman has some badass villains. Shazam has some like really silly shit going on. But I don't know. Other than that.
I feel like
Yeah,
Shazam's more of a comedy movie than it is for like anything else.
yeah, I feel you. Um, all right, dude. So your thoughts on the Last of Us finale, and
How
then
about you go first on this one? I got too much to say.
I. It was interesting to see people experience this for the first time and to like have these thoughts that everybody had when they were playing the game for the first time. And so like all of these moral issues and these questions that we all had about like what how would we handle the situation? What would our reaction be? I mean, in if you're following the show, she basically says very early on, like, this can't be cured. And so the Fireflies are winging it. I mean, we don't 100% know if they cut her open, if they're going to be able to save her. You know, I mean, so they're winging it. They do what they think is the best case scenario for humanity, but there's no guarantee of that. And so it was interesting to have like everybody who didn't play the game when it first came out experience like all of this. And like my TikTok feed has basically been filled with people getting on there and like asking the moral questions and like how they would handle it and what the issues that they have with that is. And so I thought that was pretty interesting. I mean, to have people basically re-experience that. Now, in terms of whenever there's been something where they stray too far from the subject matter, people point it out, and they're the biggest and the loudest feedback is when people are saying, "Oh, they didn't do this," or "They did do this," or "Oh, they're not staying true to the game." I mean, this is one of the ones where it was like scene for scene, shot for shot, straight out of the game. Like line for line, scene for scene, shot for shot, straight out of the game. And I was like, this is not only that, but you can tell when somebody who made a video game who's now making a show loves the subject matter. Like, not only the scene in the hospital with Joel saving Ellie, but also Ellie's mom giving birth. And the character who played Ellie, who voiced Ellie in the game, being the mother. So I just there's just so much so much done well. I had people talk to me and say that they felt like it lacked an emotional climax. Dude, him running through the hospital, like mowing people down because he's grown to care about her so much, is the emotional climax. He says to her repeatedly at the beginning of the show that she's cargo. Like, she's cargo, she's cargo, she's cargo. So if it had been a weekend, he would have just left her there and kind of let him cut her open. But as it got further on in the story, as it got to the end of the story, like, he's deciding, one, she didn't give consent. I think his issue is she didn't consent. I didn't consent. Would she have consented? Probably, because I think she feels like it's some sort of burden she's carrying, that she has the immunity and she can help people out. I mean, like a burden she's willing to carry because she wants to save humanity. And so, I don't know, man. I mean, it's all of those different things. I thought it was very well done. I thought the episode itself was very well paced. I mean, when it opens, the way they're interacting with each other, you can tell how much he cares about her at that point. And that's the massive shift between like the first few episodes where they're interacting. I thought it was really well done. I mean, here's my question, and I don't want to, well, you tell me what you thought, because I have other things to like expand on, but you tell me what you thought about the finale.
What I thought about the finale? Not much else other than it was perfect. I mean, stayed true to the game. I really liked that they expanded on Ellie's backstory, like with I really liked. What was her name? Anna, I think it was.
Yeah, whatever her name was. I didn't remember what it was either. But yeah, no, you're right.
I didn't expect that. I expected her to more just be like a cameo of like a doctor or something when I heard that she was gonna be in the season, but no, I really liked it. It stayed true to the game. It did what it needed to do. I felt like it could have been a little longer than 40 minutes, but that's just me personally.
Well, how do you, I guess, in your mind, how do you make it longer than 40 minutes?
Give us more Joel and Ellie scenes.
Yeah, so kind of expand on that early part of the episode where they're interacting with each other. They see the giraffe and all that stuff.
I feel like it would also help make the whole hospital scene a little bit more impactful if we spend a little bit more time with them.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. It's because we get a few minutes with them interacting like father and daughter. Well, I think the emotional climax of him saving her or him finding her is kind of like that first father-daughter moment. And then them interacting at the first part of the finale is kind of expanding on that father-daughter dynamic. So, yeah, I think you're right. I think all of these shows are bound by trying to fit them in a certain amount of time. So, yeah, I agree. I don't know. You were finishing your thought on like the episode itself.
Only real thing that I have to complain about, and I've complained about this from the game too, it just never made sense to me why their first goal, their first thing to do when they get Ellie is, yeah, let's go ahead and kill our only immune person right now. Let's get her brain and everything. Like, especially only just having her for a few hours. I feel like you could have, I don't know, spent a little longer before making that sudden decision to like, hey, how about we kill our only immune person in hopes that we can make a cure?
Yeah,
it just never made sense to me.
No, I agree with you, and they're really quick to cut her open and not just like run tests, but maybe they know she's coming, they hope she's coming, and they've been preparing for it. John, I didn't hear, man. Drop it in chat and we can talk about it if it's interesting. But we're talking about the finale for Last of Us right now. And okay, so this is so we obviously have part 1 and 2 of the game. And so is this something where they do a second season? Is the second season true to the second part of the game? And and then like, I don't know. I don't want to like people who are watching the show, I don't want to spoil it, but there is a real definitive kind of way that this goes, the second part of the game. And so is this something where they kind of ad-lib with the game itself and kind of stray from that? And anybody who watched Game of Thrones, it whenever it does that, whenever it strays too far from the subject matter or the material, is that's when you start getting the most visceral reaction from the people who like it. It's because you can't have a season 3 if season 2 goes the way the game goes, right? Or you can, but it takes a completely different form. So that's kind of what I'm wondering is how does that work? How does a season 2 look? How does a season 3 look? And do they stay true to the material the source material, or do they branch out from that? And I mean, that's interesting. I think they did such a great job in focusing on where this all came from, staying true to that. There were deviations with the first few episodes that I felt like they did a good job with, but then I don't know. I mean, I felt like they were true to it when they needed to be, and then I felt like they strayed and took some sort of creative. I don't know. They had the ability to kind of creatively expand on the material when necessary. So tell me about what do you think about like them going for seasons 2 and potentially 3, and then I don't know what does that look like? Because you played the second part of the game, right?
Oh yeah, I played it pretty much immediately before the show.
Okay.
Because I had it since pretty much it came out. I just never got around to playing it.
So what do you?
But I don't.
Yeah, tell me.
Season 2, obviously, it's already been confirmed. It's happening. I don't think they're gonna do a season 3. Seeing how season 1 went, I think they're gonna go with the same approach, staying true when they need to be, and changing it in parts that could be changed. But I don't know. I feel like there's gonna have to be a lot of changes made for the story, because obviously it's pretty controversial. A lot of people don't like it. Some people do. It's kind of 50-50.
Yeah.
I feel like they're gonna have to change the pacing of it for it to work.
What's up, Ian Jeb, Ziggy?
How much can I spoil here? 'Cause I don't know. How much
I say we keep it as broad as possible, because I thought about, okay, there are people who just watch the show. I mean, if you want to play the game. That's fine. I'd say we keep it along the lines of the show. So I don't know. I mean, you know what I was saying when I was talking about it. We're talking about the Last of Us finale. If you want to hop into YouTube, we got a few people in YouTube. So I say we keep it as broad as possible without ruining the game for people, or not. Well, ruining the game and ruining the show for people who may have not played the second part.
So keeping it as broad as possible is going to be a certain character that a lot of people are going to hate because of a certain thing that character did. So I feel like in order to make that character work and help people connect with them better, they're really going to have to change the pacing for when the event happens.
Yes.
That I'm not going to word.
Yeah, 100%. I think this is season 2, and expanding on your point, I think season 2, they're going to have to take the most liberty with the subject, the starting material. And so I think they can do that. I think they've shown that they can creatively do that and deliver on that. But I think I have a lot of questions about a season 2. What does season 2 look like? Do they try to stay as true to it as possible? Or do they just kind of, because for there to be a season 3, things in season 2 need to change. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Or do they just kind of build out on the story as it unfolds in the game and then build a season 3 on that? So I don't know. It's interesting to think about. I'm excited. They showed their ability to do that in the first season. I just have questions. They're positive questions. I'm not stuck on the concept, but I don't know. Go ahead.
I definitely don't think they're gonna do a season 3, not unless they kind of like cut off season 2 early a little bit, like kind of like finish up the story in season 3. I don't think they're gonna go for as many seasons as possible. I think they're gonna tell the story that they need to tell, and then, like you said, kind of just adapt as the new games come out, if Last of Us 3 ever does come out. But I think they're gonna stick to the source material as much as they can. maybe split, try and stretch it out a little bit, but I don't think a season 3 will happen.
Yeah, I think that I can see that. I mean, them staying as true to to the source material as they did for this first season, then I would say the way, if I had to wager, it sounds like that season 2 is going to unfold in a manner similar to that. So it's going to, I guess the setup is there, and then they're going to follow the blueprint from the game.
Definitely.
So that was the other question. It's kind of like Game of Thrones type stuff. I don't know if you watch Game of Thrones, but is it I don't know. Does it unfold like that? Did they run out of source material? Do they kind of fudge it? Do they, I don't know. Do they kind of do they expand on it, or do they just follow it kind of not word for word, but you get what I'm saying. So that's interesting to me, how that plays out.
That'll be
So
interesting to see.
yeah, for sure. So here's what else. So we talked about that. So you played Call of Duty last night. Tell me, what did you think? Because you played, I mean, that was basically the St. Patrick's Day event. So what did you think about that?
I didn't like it. Honestly, I don't know if I'm just kind of getting bored. Call of Duty kind of like growing out of it. I haven't liked multiplayer in a couple of years in general. So I don't know if I'm the most fair person to judge it, but it's just not as fun as it used to be. Like, I jumped on for a couple of games trying to grind out that new camo. I don't know. It was just boring to me. Like, it didn't. I don't know. There's no enjoyment or motivation there for me anymore. It could also be because I burnt myself out trying to go for polyatomic with that one night. But I don't know. It's
Yeah,
just it wasn't fun to me.
yeah. Okay, so I played for the only way that I'm able to play it now is playing Resurgence, because that's the only I guess decent answer we have to the TTK being way too fast, is that you get to respawn. And so that almost feels like it's not I wouldn't say like, oh, that makes it okay. It doesn't make it okay, but it makes it passable. So I can play it, and that's the only way I can keep playing is to play Resurgence. But we used to play Rebirth for hours and hours and hours on stream, like 4 or 5 hours as a group, because it was fun. And this one, with the I guess the way that they modified this game engine and the movement system, it doesn't play as well. It doesn't play the way that a smaller map should. The way the weapons are balanced, it's not really conducive for a smaller map. And I think the way that they set up the buildings, and have it like be a full on island with different POIs and kind of high ground, low ground, longer sight lines. You think about Rebirth, and it wasn't like different parts of like a city. It wasn't different cities. It was all one place, just different parts of that one place. And it doesn't feel like Ashika Island is that. It feels like unique locations on an island itself. And I think that's what makes it a little bit more difficult to swallow. It just doesn't the map doesn't flow together as well, especially having a lower ground and an upper ground part. I feel like that was a mistake to do that. And so I made the mistake of trying to get onto Al Mazrah, and then I played one game. I got pinched between one team. I didn't get a chance to even turn around and like react. It was done. The game was done. I'm like, I'm not going to complain about it. I'm not going to continue doing it and sit here and be like, I don't like this, and then continue playing it. I'm just not going to play it. And until something distinctly changes, I'm not going to give them my time and effort and focus, and you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, like, people like it. Every time I post about it, there's a significant enough response where people are like, I like it. I like the game like this. Great. I'm glad you like it. I'm saying I don't like it. I respect the fact that you like it, respect the fact that I don't like it, and I'm going to play something else. And I've been playing a lot of CSGO. I've been playing a lot of Valorant. I've been playing a lot of old games. And so I'm me saying I'm not going to get the next game is ridiculous because I've said that for years, but I might wait and see. I might wait and see what it is because we've gotten some real. I mean, Cold War wasn't bad, but it wasn't amazing. What was the last amazing game we got? Modern Warfare 2019? I thought that was really, really well done. I thought everything was very good at launch.
I would say that Modern Warfare 2019 was probably the last COD game that like the general community has had like a lot of fun on.
Yeah, for
Cold
sure.
War had some good moments, but I think Modern Warfare 2019 throughout its life cycle was just overall good.
Yeah. And that's even factoring in like broken guns and like shit landing and it not making sense. But it was almost like the fact that it was broken and stupid made it more fun. But it's just like they have a fully formed game engine and movement system that doesn't work. It's stupid. It just doesn't all fit together. It feels very segmented, if that makes sense. Like it doesn't feel like part of a whole. It feels like different pieces of whole of something else. So I don't know, man. They brought back a one shot sniper, and instead of having it be like center mass and headshots, it's anywhere on the body, even hitting them on the toe. And so I think it's like, I think if it's like a headshot, kind of like, I mean, I think Fortnite just redropped the heavy sniper. And so that's like certain parts of the body, it's a one shot down. But with the St. Patrick's Day event, with that one sniper on the map, that's a one shot down to anywhere on the body, I think that just makes people more angry and less likely to want to play with a one shot sniper. I don't know. We had plenty of one shot snipers in the last game, and I think people forget that. I mean, the Kar 98 from pretty much it wasn't any distance, but the Kar 98, the Swiss, all of the 50 caliber snipers were all one shot downs for pretty much the whole time we had them. And so people acting like we've never had one shot snipers, especially not in the battle royale, is kind of silly. I just don't. I don't know. I don't really know what they're going for with like a broken golden one shot sniper that is kind of like a joke to use, and with no other sniper in the game being a one shot. I don't know. Have you seen any content on that, or did you get to play with it?
I have not. I was going to, then I saw it was only quads, and that's when I decided to get off.
Yeah. I can't give them any more time or effort or attention. I got the new skin and it looks cool, but like you have to actually play to use the skin. So I don't know. I just don't know about that. I guess, what does that look like? I think I was watching some content today where I think Swag was talking about what's kind of broken with the game and how the multiplayer and the battle royale are intertwined, and that's what's preventing them from making these massive changes that may or may not be. I mean, depending on if people like it, then they don't think it needs to change. If people are waiting for change, then I don't know. I think the what's holding it back is the fact that the game engine and movement system were all tied together. So we had different game engine and movement system in Warzone versus the multiplayers. So now we have one, and so they don't want to glitch out multiplayer by making a change to the Warzone component of it. So, I mean, I guess that makes sense, but I don't know, dude. Like, it feels like when you slide, why would anybody slide? You can't shoot, you can't throw tacticals, you can't throw lethals. You're basically stuck in that slide until you're done sliding. And like that seems like a really silly mechanic. Why would you? I mean, I just have everything set to dive. I don't slide anymore, you know?
Like, I don't know. I've said this pretty much since Modern Warfare 2 came out. It just feels like the game kind of punishes you for moving. Like, you really can't, like, I mean, dolphin diving's okay, but like even then it can still be bad because you can't shoot while doing it. You can't aim or anything. It's the same thing with sliding. There's just not really a point been using it that much, really.
Yeah. And then, I mean, I agree 100%. Punishing you for moving. I think that that's a pretty good one. I mean, you watch some of these pros and they like real actual CDL pros, not like Warzone pros, but pros, and they move really quickly and they kind of figured out how to make the system work for them. And it's like a lot of dolphin diving, like a lot of, I mean, the way Shotzi for Optic moves is kind of like, it's kind of crazy. It's so far beyond just like slide canceling and shit like that and snaking. It's kind of like he's invented his own way of moving. Nobody else moves like him. So it's interesting. The best people still figure out how to make the game work for them. The people like us, and the people who are complaining about slide canceling being removed, I don't know, aren't good enough to do something like that. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. I remember that whole debate over slide canceling getting removed and everyone trying to find out a new way to do it.
Well, and then it's clear whenever it happens, whenever somebody figured out how to do it and then they patched it immediately. So it's clear that they don't want it in the game. You know?
I'm pretty sure there is still a way to do it. It's just not worth doing because it's too hard to do. Like you have to like do it like I don't know how to describe it. I don't really know how to do it, but it's not worth doing.
Yeah, that's true. I agree. I don't know. It punishing you for moving. I think that kind of sums that up in a nutshell. So dude, all right. So I was watching, and I don't know, Optic Formal. I think he's the only person I know of that's still playing Halo Infinite. I think support for the game has completely died down. I think interest in the game has completely died down. I think they had a multi-year plan in mind for this game, and I think it's. I don't want to call it completely dead, but how do you call it anything other than completely dead? And so it's like I feel like there was so much possibility there. I feel like there was a ton of interest there. But what was it in your opinion that killed it? What how did it die? I mean, you think about it, we played Warzone for 3 years. What was it about Halo Infinite that killed it? Was it no battle royale mode? Was it they took a chance on rolling out a multiplayer only game and people are like, "Nope, not ready for that in 2020." It was the end of 2021. So what do you think it was?
I don't think it was a battle royale. I just think it was the lack of content at launch. It didn't really feel like a full game. Like as much as I enjoyed it, I think the general gameplay of it, like the engine and everything, I think it's great. Game looks great, it's optimized well. The gunplay feels nice, everything. Like I've had a lot of good memories on there. I don't know. It's just there's nothing really there to keep you playing, if that makes sense. Like there's just nothing to make you want to come back, really. Like there just wasn't much, you know. Like there wasn't any like sort of like really long-term events or like I don't know. There just wasn't much to do besides get on, grind a couple battle pass levels, and then that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I guess it. Okay, and is that maybe because of how they set up the campaign and to have the campaign be so open-ended and not have you be bought in on following Master Chief around? I mean, because it was a unique campaign because it was much more of like you decide what you're going to do next. You go drive to a POI and you do the mission if you choose to, but you can completely bypass that and go to something else. And so I wonder if it all has to do with the fact that Halo has been so campaign driven in the past, and like what gets people committed to it is the campaign itself, and to have it was. I don't know. I didn't finish the campaign. It's the first Halo campaign I haven't finished. Or maybe people are just tired of having Halo be in a specific format. Because the thing about Call of Duty, regardless of the issues that it has, is that there can be drastic changes year over year. You can go from, I don't know, 100 years in the future. And so you get different guns, different formats, different characters, different types of armor. And so this is basically the same Master Chief we've had since whatever it was, 2001. 20 something years. It's the similar or same guns. It's the same assault rifle for 20 years. It's been the same DMR, I think, since whatever they dropped it in Halo 2 or Halo 3. And so is the content just getting stale? Do they need to explore something without Master Chief? And they've done that with different offshoot games, but do they need to go like 100 years in the past to the beginning of the Human Covenant War? Or do they need to, or whenever the Human Covenant War started? Or do they need to go 100 years in the future when, I don't know, Master Chief's not there anymore? Or something like that. Does there need to be drastic enough change to where people aren't like, oh, shit, this is exact same game that I played when I was 10 years old? I don't know. Do you see where I'm going with that?
Yeah, I can. I don't know.
I don't know. I just don't think there's significant enough changes year over year for people to give a shit. I mean, it's like it's been missing. You remember they tried to drop it early and it didn't look finished, and people shit all over they completely shit all over the trailer, and so they delayed the game. And so to your point, it felt unfinished even when it dropped, but it was like it looked unfinished when they did the trailer for it. The graphics looked really bad. So I don't know, man. I think it's, as far as making Halo matter again, I think you need to get out of, I think you take a chance on not having Master Chief be the main character. You take a chance on different time period, different stage of the Human Covenant War. I think that's what it has to be for people to be engaged with it. Because you think about from Modern Warfare 2019 to Cold War, I mean, that's like a 15, 20-year difference, but the guns are different, the characters are different, what matters is different. You know, it's a different stage of kind of the human experience. Whereas with this, same guns, same people, the HUD changes, the content changes, but like the basics do not. So I wonder if that's what it is. That's why it's people aren't like, who cares?
Could be it. Just nothing really innovative or anything. Just like kind of having the same basic thing, just not really changing much. That could be it though.
Yeah, I wonder about that. I wonder if they went back to a standard format campaign, and then if they change time periods, if that would lead to some sort of success for the game itself. I don't know, man. So, what else were we going to talk about? John dropped into stream talking about Tico and what's going on with FaZe Clan. John didn't say what was happening, but I don't know what's happening with. I guess you've been watching this unfold, and then like it's interesting. It's interesting, the content creator economy and what's important, and these guys like this being their lives, but you realize that they know that they can make content off of it. And so there's kind of like that level of inherent cheesiness. And I do this too. I'm not saying they're cheesy for making content. I'm saying I'm cheesy too when I make content. When I something pops up and I'm like, oh, that's content. But like they're telling these stories and they're telling behind the scenes of like what happened with FaZe and how that unraveled and all of that. And then they're like, oh shit, I should make a YouTube video about this, you know? But it's interesting. I would say this is not different from my experience in startups, but also my experience in the technology industry, is that it's these people who are corporate raiders who have been involved in startups, they are looking for the absolute biggest piece of the pie that they can get, and they're looking to cash out. And they don't care about the people. They don't really care about the product itself. And they care as long as they need to care. They care as long as it takes them to cash out. And so I think that's what we saw. Saw enough people get involved. I mean, it started off as a YouTube channel or whatever it was of these dudes doing trick shots. And they had people who were very loyal to them, people who were very involved in the product itself. They were involved in the characters. They were also, I mean, every single one of them had like a couple million, 5 million followers on YouTube. So like people really cared. but then you bring in the business side of that. Like everybody thinks it sounds good to start making money, to list it on I don't know, to have the stock listed, to go public. But when you don't have a fully built out business, then it's really difficult to do that. And then two, I was watching a Moist Critical video, and he's talking about how in the creator economy, the product is content. And these people coming in and thinking like brand deals, products, stuff like that. I don't know, controllers, whatever it is the product. The product is content. The product is having events that you can make content off of. And so I think that's a really interesting point, because if somebody wins a major, that's content. I mean, sure, they won a prize, but you put money into getting them there, feeding them, flying them, putting them in hotels. You make money off of documenting it, having people watch it on YouTube, having people tune into the live stream, having people make donations, things like that. And I think he has a really good, interesting point. So, I mean, I'm kind of veering off, but I think FaZe Clan shows what can happen if you approach this as a business without a fundamental understanding of what the business and the product is. Have you been following along with that at all? Am I just riffing on my own at this point? Or I know you must have seen some of it.
It's 70%.
So what do you think about all that? Did you watch? I mean, everybody's seen that. Everybody's seen some of them. I think some of them are more cheesy than others, but I still think it was a good product to a certain point. So I mean, I don't know. What's your thoughts on all that from a teenager's perspective?
I really don't know. Not much, honestly. I don't really ever think about stuff like that, to be honest.
What do you think about the human interaction piece, though? I mean, you've got people that you're close with right now, and imagine that you grow a business with somebody that you're friends with right now, and you guys live in the same house, and you're creating content, and it grows to the point where you're both millionaires. And this product that you guys created together, it kind of falls apart, and your relationship with that person falls apart. And then there's other people that come and get involved that don't care about your product itself. They just want to make money off of you and make money off the product you already created. So what would your take be then? Say one of your best friends right now, you guys do that together. That's basically what's happened with these guys. Is like these guys they grew up with as teenagers and early adults. They watched that all unravel because of greed.
That's a tough one. I don't know. Let's
Yeah, we can. And we can talk about it another time if you don't have any thoughts on it.
I don't. My mind's kind of blank right now.
Yeah, you're good. All right, dude. So, I think that was it for today. I think we're gonna hop off. I don't know. Nobody's. I don't know. We had a few people drop in and say hi and stuff. We're gonna have to keep doing this to kind of start building an audience. But all right, dude. So we're gonna hop off. We'll do this again either next Friday or Saturday. What do you think?
Sounds good.